Hi you guys, this is Jamie with Whatever's Clever Boutique, and today I am going to show you quite possibly one of the easiest tumbler tutorials that I have ever made. And believe it or not, the only items I used to complete these tumblers were the tumblers themselves, vinyl, epoxy, and a little bit of epoxy dye. So let's go ahead and dive in and show you how to make these gorgeous tumblers. While I was at TumblerCon last month, I ran across these gorgeous sheets of vinyl from the Vinyl Cottage. They are holographic. They are called Mountains Are Calling. And I knew immediately I wanted to do a full wrap, and I got home and was so excited to make these. So I'm taking a 40-ounce skinny from Craft Haven as well as a 20-ounce skinny. So to start, all I did was went ahead and removed all of that excess vinyl around the edges of our sheets. Now, like I've done in the past, we're going to go ahead and just lay these full sheets of vinyl. So I'm just going to trim off a little bit of that backing, and I'm going to line that right up on the tumbler and start pressing down. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my big squeegee from the Bowen LLC and start laying the vinyl down. This squeegee makes vinyl wrapping a complete breeze. It just lays it straight down, barely any air bubbles. It is so nice. Now I'm going to take a fresh blade here because this vinyl is really thick. So I got a new blade, and then I went ahead and just trimmed off that top rim of excess vinyl. Now we're going to take our amazing On the Tumbler vinyl cutter from Doobie's Treasures, line it right up with that seam because you guys know I cannot cut a straight line for the life of me. And even with this one, the ruler didn't go all the way down because the 40-ounce tumblers are so tall. I had to hand cut that bottom section there, and I was stressing. Then I went ahead and took my X-Acto knife and trimmed off some of that excess on the bottom before I went in with my vinyl edging tool from Cami Page Boutique, because like I said, the vinyl is so thick it really wouldn't lay down across the bottom super smooth, so I would have feared not getting a straight line with the vinyl edging tool. So now we're going to go ahead and go in with the 20-ounce, and this one was super easy. It fit over this 20-ounce skinny from Craft Haven perfectly. There was only a tiny bit of overlap. So when I went to cut this one, I actually just did the top portion because you couldn't tell much at all on the bottom portion. So I just cut a little bit of that excess off over the top there, and I knew I was going to be laying some trees down, so I didn't even worry about the bottom portion. So I'm going to go ahead and trim the excess off the top here like we did on our 40-ounce. And now I am going to edge the top rim and the bottom rim of this tumbler. Then we'll go back in with our 40-ounce and we will edge the top of that one as well. Once we got that all finished, we went in with one coat of our KSRESIN Liquidy Split Ultra UV Epoxy and let that cure. Once that's all cured, we're going to go in with another coat of epoxy. And on this coat, we're going to take our white epoxy dye from Alumilite and then pitch black alcohol ink from Tim Holtz. And I'm going to do two different styles. So on the 20-ounce, I'm going to use that white ink for the clouds. And on the 40, I'm going to use the black ink, kind of creating different effects to show you, that you can play around and use different colors to get different kind of feels on the tumblers. So I'm going to go ahead and mix those up in our mixing cups. And I already have epoxy laid on the tumblers themselves, a very thin coat, because I don't want a lot of movement here. So with a gloved finger, and I do apologize because my hand is totally in the way for the most of this, but I am just going in a dabbing motion. I'm not pulling, I'm not swiping, I'm just simply putting some of the colored epoxy on my finger and dabbing up and down, creating little clouds in the sky of our tumbler. Now we're going to go ahead and do the same on our 40 ounce with the black dyed epoxy. Once we get that all applied, we're going to go in with our torch to pop any of those air bubbles, and then we're going to let that coat of epoxy cure. Now for the decal, I'm going to go ahead and use this super cute Uplift and Empower decal, and this is from Made by Manny and Mal's Digital Collective, and she has so many gorgeous SVGs up on her website. I'll have everything that I use listed and linked in the description box below, as well as some discount codes for you guys as well. So I'm going ahead and doing a triple layer offset here. I am using Tech Wrap Craft Vinyl. I have this glittery rainbow, and then your basic black and white. And I made the 40 ounce SVG a little bit wider. I went ahead and did that at 4 inches wide. That's why they do look like they're different sizes on the backing, because they are. And then for the 20 ounce, I did 3.5 inches wide. So I'm gonna go ahead and layer these vinyls one on top of the other. White first, the rainbow second, and the black third. And I'm just gonna take them bit by bit here just to make it a little bit easier and give me a little more confidence in that I'm gonna lay it perfectly straight. And then I went ahead and did the same thing with the 20 ounce. I went ahead and skipped that since it is super repetitive. But once I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and tape off the bottom with some painter's tape, because we are gonna go ahead and paint the bottoms black. I just used some basic black acrylic paint, and it took me about 3 coats here. So I painted on, I let it dry, painted it on again, let it dry, and then went in a third time and had really good coverage at this point. This is just a super cheap acrylic paint. Had I had my black Arteza, which was completely gone because I use it all the time, it would have probably only taken 1 or 2 coats. Now for the trees, we're gonna go ahead and add just a little more flair to the vinyl by adding some black tree accents. I found these trees on Creative Fabrica, and I will go ahead and link those down below for you. But I went ahead and removed the tape on those tumblers, weeded a little bit of the trees. It was pretty extensive, so I just weeded the ones I was gonna use. And I just kind of trimmed apart these tall, kind of wispy trees. I only was going to use 3 of those. I wanted the taller trees to go right on that seam, since we laid our decal right on that seam to make this tumbler look more seamless. And so laying these trees right over that really helped accomplish that. Then I went ahead and just took some other little tree accents here and just kind of laid them on the tumbler where I thought that they would look best. And really what I was trying to accomplish here was adding more dimension. Because we did just use a sheet of vinyl here, it was very one-dimensional. And it did look good, and we added the clouds for a little dimension, but this just kind of helped break that apart a little bit more. And of course, because of all the vinyl work, I went ahead and sealed everything in with some quick coat from CC DIY. After the quick coat, I went in with just one coat of epoxy, and when I finished that and that was all cured, I went in and did my final sand before I went back in with our final coat of epoxy. Once I was finished with my sanding band here with my nail drill, I went in with a sanding block just to kind of soften up those edges a little bit more, because I do use a really low grit sanding band. And then I sanded down any little funky pieces that may have been on the tumbler or little bits that were poking up from the vinyl, but really there's no glitter or anything on here, so it was pretty darn smooth. And of course, we went in with our KSRESIN Liquidy Split Ultra UV for our final coat of epoxy. And here they are. They turned out so good. This is such a fun and quick tumbler. If you find any sort of vinyl like this where it encompasses the entire tumbler because it's a full wrap, run with it. See what you can do with it. Add some dimension, add some depth. Of course, you can leave it as is. It will be stunning either way. But I just, for myself, for some reason, just have to keep adding things to it. And I do absolutely love how these ones turned out. They were so much fun to make. Like I said, all you need is a tumbler, some vinyl, some epoxy, and again, I used some epoxy dye to create those clouds. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Something a little bit different today, but I was quickly able to knock the two tumblers out to show you guys. And I just couldn't wait to play with this vinyl from the Vinyl Cottage. So I hope you guys were able to gain some inspiration. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with if you use these sheets of vinyl. And I will be back again next week for another tumbler tutorial.